but it's not always going to be perfect. But the most important thing is that you find a way to win. And the Bills, not only do they find a way to win, they won by 24 points. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get into games. And against very good teams, you can't do that. But also the Bills are a very good team. So just maybe take a lap and just, I get it though. Like it is frustrating when you're like, I know this team can play a lot better than this, but then they do.
And they do a moment later.
Why are you laughing?
You just told them to take a lap.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Hello, and welcome into Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, the Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. I already have a couple people in the chat saying hi. Hello, David, Patrick, and also David. Matthew, appreciate all the comments. If you have any questions, be sure to write in. Let's talk Bills. Let's talk Seahawks. Let's talk Mike being a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Credit to me.
Yes.
Got a lot to get to on this Thursday night. So let's start with Mike is literally checking his phone, so I can't.
No, I wanted to look for something, but I will find it for you.
Okay.
Ethan. Saw Ethan when we got off the plane at JFK. Came right up to me. Say he's a big Buffalo Plus fan. Watches all the time. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to make sure I did not forget. It was on the way on the trip to the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
That's the way my mind works.
To that Hall of Fame thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So if people did not know, Mike was inducted into the New York State Broadcasters Hall of Fame on yesterday. It was really cool. The event was in Manhattan, Rockefeller Plaza, the Rainbow Room that overlooks Manhattan. And he was one of 6 members who was inducted into this year's class. And John Murphy, play-by-play for a long time for the Bills, also inducted. But we are really, really proud of you, Mike. And it was just a really cool day to celebrate you.
I was always thinking about that Remember the Titans clip when Coach Boone at the end's like, you're a Hall of Famer in my book. That was all.
That's right. He lost the Hall of Fame there.
The defensive coordinator.
Yes.
You're a Hall of Famer in my book.
You're a Hall of Famer. So Kendrick asked Jenna, did you cry? Yes. But it was a great day.
Yeah.
We're going to make you say one thing about it and then we'll go on.
It was a great day. I mean, and we've talked about it, you don't do this to win things. Like it sometimes it's very nice. And this one is, I've been doing this a long time. Before these two were born, okay? I was doing this.
Yeah, so young.
And they're getting old now. So to have people recognize that. And honestly, I have 2 daughters that live in New York. I have family that lives in Jersey, South Jersey. And my mom was there. They were all able to come up. So that part made it cool. And I work with people who could be working in New York City if they chose to, or any of those markets.
Jenna's going to cry again.
No, you could be. There's no question in my mind that you could be. And while I say it doesn't matter as much because you do good work and it's wherever you are and it happens to be here. But I watch, when I'm in all these cities, like I grew up, if I went somewhere else, I'm turning on the TV. I want to see the sports people. I want to see it. I want to see how they are. I still do that. And I watch. And I'm working with Hall of Fame talents with you too.
Okay. Thank you. But sorry, I don't mean, we appreciate that. You set the standard. You are an incredible mentor and you're not retiring, just so everyone's clear. Okay.
That's the other thing too, is that it does get thrown around a lot. Oh, he's a great person, great player.
Yeah.
You are a better mentor. You're a Hall of Fame broadcaster.
Yeah.
Better friend, mentor, leader, boss.
Yeah.
Talker.
Yeah.
Than you are a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I can talk. And they said, keep it to 5 minutes. I think I went like 6.5. That's not bad.
That's not bad. No,
yeah.
Your speech was really good.
Oh, thanks.
Your speech was really good. But so a very fun day.
So let's talk about the Bills.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to talk about yourself anymore? I'm so shocked.
Well, it's the old line. I'm tired of talking about me. Why don't you talk about me for a while?
I love it. All right. Yes. Let's talk about this Bills team. Get ready. Going West Coast, facing off against the Seahawks. Mike, right now this team is 5-2. Bills are. They're in a pretty good spot. Obviously, the win against the Titans last week slow start, strong finish. We can get into all of that. But where do you assess where this team is kind of sitting at right now as we head into this game against the Seahawks?
I always think when I look at like records of teams and I look back and I try to remember the seasons and you think, oh, they were 13-4 that year, or back then maybe it was 13-3. And it looks so pretty on paper.
Yeah.
Because you go, wow, they won 13 games, only lost 3. Even this Bills team, the year they won, what were they, 13-4? But football seasons are messy.
1,000%.
So every game is not perfect. And the players will say things to us like, it's hard to win in this league. You know, the truth is, it is hard to win in this league. And sometimes there's a thought, and you know, they blew out the Titans. And then people are like, well, it's only the Titans. I'm like, it's an NFL team with a quality defense and got decent quarterback play for about a quarter plus, and they were winning.
Yeah.
And then the Bills dominated them. The reason I say this is at some point, you want to be playing your best. And obviously, the Bills will need to play better if they want to go to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But they are 5-2 and have a 2+ game lead on the division on the Jets and the Dolphins.
Yeah.
They're in great shape.
Yeah.
They are. Absolutely.
It feels like at times it happened for a while with Josh Allen. And then now it feels like it happens a little bit, in my opinion, to Sean McDermott. And now it's a little bit just to the team in general that the goalpost gets moved back and it gets moved back and back and back. And it's like, yeah, they beat the Titans and scored 34 and answered. But, you know, the Titans scored the first 10 points and they came out slow. That's bad coaching. There's so much more, I think, that goes into all of this. And at the end of the day, if the Bills played crappy for 3.5 quarters and found a way to win the game, I think we would sit there and we would be critical of the 3.5 quarters and all those things. But to get out with a win is all that really matters. There are times when the Bills don't look good at all and they find a way to win, and we can sit there and go, hey, they found a way, right? That's the ultimate goal.
The Jets game.
Yeah.
They found a way.
And then there are other times when they end up scoring 34 and answer, beat them by 24. And it's like, well, that first quarter wasn't good enough. I get it. I agree. All of those things can be true while also understanding, like, they've beaten all the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
They got behind too much against Baltimore. They got behind and, you know, kind of stumbled late against Houston. But I still think this team, if you would have said before the season, you're going to be 5-2 heading to Seattle, I think you would have taken it and run.
And Jenna, I would say if they were winning these games where they struggled, and it took 3 Josh plays to win it, or they got fortunate in one other way. You know, that Jets game was such a weird game.
Yeah.
But they found a way to win it. I would be a little more concerned. The difference is an example of last week, and even that Cardinals game. When they turned it on and dominated those teams. And I know they're better teams than that. And even in that Houston game, they were down big in that game. We know you can't keep doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But they showed an ability to make adjustments and flip a switch. Their numbers in the second half are really, really good.
Insane.
Yeah. Their numbers are good. And then defensive numbers of what they've been able to keep the opposing teams to. What is it? The most an opposing team has scored in the second half this season is 10.
10. I think that was the Baltimore game.
Yeah. So I think sometimes, I've said this before, I think sometimes you watch the game so intently as a Bills fan, and then you a lot of times will like check in on other scores or watch Red Zone or look at the box score later. I think a lot of people, it's like, they do struggle, and they have struggled in the first half. But I think the most important thing is that the entire team feels very confident that they will figure it out. And those second half adjustments are a piece of that. But it's not always going to be perfect. But the most important thing is that you find a way to win. And the Bills, not only do they find a way to win, they won by 24 points. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get into games. And against very good teams, you can't do that. But also the Bills are a very good team. So just maybe take a lap and just, you know, I get it though. Like it is frustrating when you're like, I know this team can play a lot better than this, but then they do.
And they do a moment later.
Why are you laughing?
You just told them to take a lap. That was great.
Like take a lap around like the living room.
Oh,
touch some grass.
Yeah. Just like it's even sometimes in the press box. They can't. That's brutal. Like sometimes I don't always tweet during a game because I'm like, I want to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I tweeted that
we are prisoners of the moment.
Yeah.
Every result is like, oh, that was terrible, or oh, that was amazing. It's like, let's see the body of work of what we're gonna get, and then go from there.
Nope. It's all about hot takes in the moment,
Yeah.
overreactions.
Well, there's hot
It's very
takes in the
reactive.
game itself.
Yes.
Like they have to play better today to win this game. The idea of fire
Sunday.
Joe Brady, fire Sean McDermott,
Yes.
bench this guy, get rid of that guy. I mean, I bet you I have had 25 tweets at me or through the season. Keon's a bust. Now, the first of all, I was saying to these people, I go, number one, he's not even close. And number two, it's the beginning of his rookie season.
Yeah.
And I see those kind of things. I'm like, you could say Keon's having a bad day, which could very well be true.
Which Josh has had too already
Yeah.
this season. That doesn't mean that also.
And
like,
I'm just using Keon as an example.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at people and going, really? Like you
Yeah.
okay, cut him. Get rid of him.
You know, I would like to think it's just the really loud fans. That I think a lot of fans are like, okay, like this team has it, like they'll figure it out. But I think sometimes it's the outliers that are.
It's the emotion in the game.
Yeah.
But Mike, you've talked about it too, and it's interesting.
That's my word there, but if you want to go ahead and take it, that's fine.
For charity, it works.
Yes.
We have gotten to know more of the personality of Bill Belichick now with all of the media that he does. And what does he say? That the game is pretty much broken up into 3 quarters.
Yeah. Three different quarters. Yes.
He didn't misspeak when he talks about the quarters. The fact of the matter is that you have the first quarter, like what you have planned, and then how
the adjustments,
and then it's winning time.
Like
so to sit there and be like slamming the panic button on a game when it's now again, you can't let games get ahead of you. And I know I've tweeted in the middle of a second quarter is a massive drive, like momentum in a game and all of those things. But the Bills have done a phenomenal job. I think we have beaten the horse to death here in the sense of how good they have been at second half adjustments, how important that is as a coaching staff to be able to make them, to have faith in that. And that's something that Sean McDermott has been able to do a lot in his time in Buffalo.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the team knows. It's funny. John Scott of Channel 2 in Buffalo asked McDermott on Monday, like, these slow starts, like, what do you attribute it to? All this stuff. And Sean McDermott was like, if I knew, I would fix it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like one of those things. I think it is execution. I think it is focus. I think sometimes players are, really excited, or maybe their energy's low that day. But it does come down to, I think, settling in and then going from there.
Well, baseball comparison, a lot of times they track what a pitcher's ERA is in the first inning. And they say, well, why are you so bad in the first inning? He has a 6 ERA in this season in the first inning, and afterwards he has a 2 ERA. It's like they try and do different things. Sometimes those pitchers throw extra warm-up pitches in the bullpen before the game. Sometimes they try not to throw any pitches. Like sometimes you can't put your finger on it exactly what it is. But when I think about that, like Sean being like, yeah, I wish we wouldn't be down double-digit points in the last 3 out of the last 4 games. But it happens.
So William Dancero says, find a way gets old fast. Late October, you need to be playing your best.
What?
Well, I'd say it's more you want to be playing your best in the late November, December.
Late December, yeah.
Doesn't mean you don't want to be playing well in October. I get it. But your best, because the reality is.
No, I just get annoyed because you won by 24 points. Like the Super Bowl is not in October. And the Bills won. The Bills won this game. So I just get frustrated when fans are like, you have to start off against better teams stronger. Okay, well, let's see what they do against some of these better teams that are coming up, or even like against the Texans. They obviously did lose that game, but they were able to come back. That game was tied in the end. I just think sometimes it bothers me.
I would tell
Feisty Jenna.
Here's what I would say. Watch a game after you already know the result. So the Bills win that game. Your mindset, it's almost like watching film. Your mindset of watching that first quarter is so different when you know the result. There's emotion that plays into it. The difference is the coaches and the players can't get rattled that badly, even though they know it's not going well. Let's be honest. Yeah. They went 3 3-and-outs right away. I don't say they go into panic mode. They go into adjustment mode.
Yeah.
It's not working. We thought, first of all, last week, they thought they were going to get, probably up till the day before, they thought they were maybe going to get Will Levis, who was going to be just memeing it up, man. There was going to be so much Will. And instead, they got Mason Rudolph, who was good until...
ran out of talent.
Yeah. But in the beginning of the game, he was good. It was a nice adjustment by the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Okay. Let's talk about the Seahawks game then.
Yeah.
Going West Coast, Terrell Bernard did not practice once again today. That's obviously a big thing to watch. DK Metcalf on the Seahawks side did not practice as well. Another player to definitely have eyes on as we head into this weekend. But Mike, what do you think of where the Seahawks team is right now? Their record isn't bad, but they did lose 3 games in a row, able to bounce back. Like, what have you seen?
They won 3 in a row. They looked pretty good. They didn't play against the greatest quarterback competition. And then they come home and they lose to Daniel Jones and the Giants, get run all over. They look terrible at home, at Lumen Field, which is where everybody thinks of them being unbeatable. They just went down to Atlanta, not the most intimidating place to play, but that is a talented team, Atlanta. Certainly offensively, they have a lot of talent. And the Seahawks just handled them in the game.
Yep.
Biggest thing in that game was it looks like they lost DK Metcalf, at least for this week.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple of weeks. So that makes them a little different. This team can score, which is pretty impressive considering the offensive line has struggled.
Yep.
They still put up numbers. They have still been pretty good offensive, actually really good offensively in total. And I think their defense is okay.
Yeah.
Sort of middle of the pack. But I do think they're a different team if DK's not on the field.
Yeah, I like this Seattle team. I think they got dudes on that team that are talented. And when I look at their 3-game losing streak, I look at more reasons than excuses because they have been pretty banged up.
Yeah.
They've been banged up at the offensive line position. They were banged up with their defense, which they got beat. And then Kenneth Walker has, again, kind of been in and out of games. So I think this is a team that can, in a way, wants to get in a track meet with.
Yeah.
Like they can score points in a hurry. Even without DK Metcalf, they still have tons of weapons on that offense between Jackson Smith and Jigba and Tyler Lockett, who's been in his 39th year in the league. I'm using that joke all week, but this is a team that I think is dangerous. And they went into Atlanta and they were a team that was hungrier. Like they needed that game to snap the 3-game losing streak more than Atlanta did. Like that was a spot of a hungry team needs this win, and they got it. And I know when we did the You Ask, We Answer segment, somebody was like, Dan, stop fear-mongering about the Seahawks. They're not that good and Geno stinks. And I was just like,
no, he doesn't.
You couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you want to take this Seattle team lightly, you'll lose. Like there's just no other way getting around it. Geno Smith is playing at a very high level going back for the last year and a half, maybe even 2 years. Like he leads the NFL in passing, like with passing yards. That's not an opinion that I think Geno Smith is a good quarterback. It's a fact of where he is. So that to me is part of what goes into this.
Chudley 716 says Spectre in coverage is a problem if Bernard doesn't play.
100%. We have seen what that, and again, the spine of the Bills defense is a weakness when Terrell Bernard is not out there. We saw that in the Baltimore game. I also know Taron wasn't playing in that game. And while I have defended the safeties in Rapp and Hamlin this season, they're not good enough when it's Spectre and Dorian Williams.
Yeah.
Because then they both get picked on. And Baltimore exposed the middle of the field. They used Likely. They used Andrews. Like that was a concern. And Noah Fant is a pretty good tight end for Seattle. So that is a big concern for me. And that's why I think there's going to be a lot of points in this game.
Do you want to read the tip?
Super. We got a super tip from Scumbag Brad. That's a funny name. Love you guys. I finally see Connors and Ferris. Haha. Connors and Ferris is what I've heard when I couldn't see. Keep up the great work. Credit to Mike.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Connors and Zin Ferris. I could see absolutely why. I will work on my enunciation. Connors.
Thanks, Scumbag.
And Ferris.
But you are right about that. And I wonder how they'll approach things without Bernard this week. And I do, obviously, I think Spectre would play in the middle. But I would wonder if this might not be a bad week for them to get another safety on the field or get another defensive back on the field, maybe even Cam Lewis on the field at times.
But then I feel like they could run the ball down your throat.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's where it's kind of pick your poison.
Yeah. I'm not, or maybe make adjustments as to who's has the assignments. Try to keep Spectre out of coverage if possible. And maybe that is with I don't know.
Yeah. Like this is why when people talk about like what could the Bills do or add at the trade deadline and you think they're done with making moves, like when you have a team like this that has weapons on the outside but also has a strong running game,
Yeah.
you're tough with the linebackers that you have. Now, again, if you're bringing Dorian Williams in when they go big and they go, 12 personnel, like then Dorian Williams as your third linebacker with Milano and Bernard, you're like, this is awesome. But
So
right
also
now,
can be a pass rusher too.
right. So at this point, it's a little dicey.
It is. It is.
And Bernard injured his ankle last year. That's what caused him to miss the playoff game. Like this is, I don't know. My gut says he doesn't play.
I agree. Man of War, thank you. Do you guys think the Bills should trade for Myles Garrett?
Oh,
I mean, yeah, that'd be
Sure.
amazing, but
Yes.
I don't
His
expect...
guaranteed money isn't crazy.
I think if I would say in Cleveland, that's a tough trade to make.
Because
it's Myles Garrett.
Oh, for a second, I thought you meant it was going to be tough to make a trade with Cleveland.
Oh, no. I'm saying is,
I was like,
man,
go on.
It's one thing, Amari Cooper at the end of his contract and who's been there for a while. It's Myles Garrett.
Yeah, you're fully blowing it up.
Yes. You better get a lot.
Get Nick Chubb, too.
Yeah. Package them together.
Well,
Why not?
They can give Ty Johnson back. We'll make this a fair trade.
No, I'm saying is, I don't know.
That's really funny.
I don't know what's he worth on the open market in a trade. He's one of the guys that I still think is worth a 1.
Yeah, he's a 1.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, these trades are strange sometimes. Everybody thinks you're going to get, the guy you get multiple picks for in ones is a quarterback.
Yeah.
It's hard to get it for other players. I mean, if Justin Jefferson was on the market, maybe it's different, but it's mostly those type of players.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm Cleveland, I think I'm probably that's an off-season move to me. But I guess if you had somebody at the right moment that wanted to make a deal,
like 10 months ago, they were in the postseason.
Yeah,
with Joe
Flacco.
Joe Flacco.
Man.
Joe.
Well, and now Deshaun's. Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you this. I don't know if you saw it. So you saw who their starting quarterback is this week,
Jameis,
and you see who their play caller is this week.
Ken Dorsey.
Yes.
Wow.
Ken Dorsey goes from Josh
Allen
to Jameis.
But the first 4 letters of his last name is Wins.
That's right. That's right.
He goes from the Ferrari.
Hey,
I like Jameis.
I do too.
I was going to say, what car would you...
I don't know.
Something like fast, but reckless, but like fun, but like not.
Yeah.
Your old Subaru?
No, she wasn't fast.
It was reckless.
It was reckless.
It's just dangerous.
This is for the driver. Okay. Sorry.
Keon?
You want to talk Keon?
Yeah, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. There's the car.
There's a Jameis that just drove.
There's Jameis driving by. I heard him. Excuse me. Keon, he had a career week against the Titans game, 125 yards. Good to see him break off some tackles. I think we're seeing him progress, and I think it's something that will continue to evolve over the season. But I think having Amari Cooper just helps everybody else around kind of have the ability to lighten up their load and kind of be able to be in more of their true natural positions of what you expected going into the season. So I really like it.
I get to use my famous and favorite Micah Hyde quote. Confidence is a hell of a drug.
Right.
Yeah.
And that game, we may look back as kind of the springboard that really kind of got Keon to believing is a big part of professional sports. You hear athletes talk about it all the time, like to actually feel like you have the confidence, and you can have fake confidence. You can sit there and you can say all the things in front of the cameras like, yeah, I'm confident. I know I can make an impact on this team. But for Keon to have that game, to get the touchdown called back sucked. But the fact of catching simple routes and turning them into big plays, I think was a big confidence boost. He's named the NFL Rookie of the Week, the Pepsi Rookie of the Week.
Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just think that's part of
that, so
that is the Amari Cooper effect.
Yeah.
I think that's a reaction from it in a good way. And I don't know. I just think that could have been a launching off point for Keon.
I was thinking about the change in the dynamic of the receiver room with Cooper coming in, not just the idea of the hierarchy of the unit, but the idea of who is going to, let's just say, for argument's sake, that Keon was putting up decent numbers and becoming sort of thought of a certain way. And Shakir was doing well. I'm not saying competition in the room. I'm saying he's getting more catches and maybe Shakir's playing and getting numbers, but it's spread out and they're young players.
Okay, where are you going with this?
Cooper comes in, unquestioned best guy, right?
Right.
So I think it allows the rest of the room to just be themselves.
Cooper's the adult.
And he's an adult who can still play.
Yeah.
He's not there to coach.
Yeah, the kids were trying to make dinner and it was just a mess in the kitchen. And they're like, we'll figure it out.
Yes.
We'll eat somehow.
Yes.
But we don't really know what it's doing. And Cooper comes in and is like, I got this.
And I also mean, you guys have talked about it, the evolution of these players. You know, I'm looking at Keon's numbers and he's 300 and some odd yards. So it goes out to like, say about 800 yards maybe in a season. That's a pretty decent rookie season.
Yeah.
It's not spectacular, but that's pretty decent. The biggest thing for me has been the plays that he has made have looked like a legit NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like that play against the Texans down the sidelines.
Yeah.
A couple of other nice catches.
Play.
Well, the touchdown you just talked to that he got taken away was a hell of a catch.
Yeah.
So that's the part to me. The numbers are good and will play out and maybe it'll be a little better. But to me, it's more of like he's finding his way. And Shakir, I just don't think anything phases that guy.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
But I feel like with Cooper being the route runner that he is, I think we talked about it after the Jets game. There was very little rhythm and syncrasy between 3-step and 5-step drops in that offense. And I feel like Cooper provides that. And then I feel like that's a trickle-down effect. Like we always talk about it in baseball, that like hitting is contagious. And all of a sudden, one guy catches a slant, and then another guy can catch a slant, and then all of a sudden, everybody's making plays, and there's that trickle-down effect. So I think Cooper's effect, you talk about the adult in the kitchen, things like that. I just think that everybody around him is better.
You said syncrasy.
Is that
synchronicity?
Is syncrasy a word?
I'm going to go with no. Syncrasy. What would syncrasy be, though?
I don't know.
I feel like that's like a brand name, like shower cleaner.
It's the
we're out of syncrasy.
Yeah. Oh, honey, can you pick up the syncrasy on the way? Yeah, thanks. Synchronicity, Kevin Hurley.
Perfect. It's the present tense of sinking.
Syncrasy.
It actually sounded pretty good. And then I thought, well, no, Dan said it.
Well, when you were like syncrasy, I was like, yeah, I was kind of zoning out.
Yeah.
Synchronicity. Now you sound like the motivational speaker.
Here's a guy.
Here's a guy. No, but now you sound like when you see a like poster board on an office that's like
motivation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Syncrasy.
Unity.
So
what's the word they love saying? It's not synchronicity. It's like, I'll think of it.
You'll think of it. Somebody will put it in the
You're going to
chat,
remember it like 9 days later.
So
this
we
is
were
training camp all over again.
Oh my God.
We were recording a TV show and I made an analogy, and for a little while when I make those, they're like the Dan analogies. So I feel like I'm out on a limb and I'm trying to hang on to bring it back. But I made the analogy.
Synergy. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Synergy is a big word.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going for?
Synergy.
Nope.
Well, no, but it sounds like synchronicity a little bit. Different meanings,
He
obviously.
said syncrasy.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
These are good.
Got it.
Anyhow.
Bandwidth, loop in, move the needle.
They're so good.
Yeah. Sorry.
They're so good. We'll circle back to that.
Yeah.
So I made this analogy, and I remembered the name of the show my wife and I were watching, because the Bills would always talk about, oh, everybody eats and this is great. And even Josh, nobody cares about the stats, because the stats were very good. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So we were watching the show. It's called
Love It or List It. I thought of it when you were doing it.
So we're watching this show, and
it's a couple married guys watching HGTV.
Well,
it's a good show.
It is. So we're watching this, and here's the idea. It's like they're looking at their house. House needs a lot. They start fixing it up, and they make it better. and they keep making it better. And they look at it and they're like, oh, we could stay here. And then they see the new house and it's got the huge closets and it's got the great backyard and the redone kitchen. And they're like, yeah, we like that, but this is better. Amari Cooper is the walk-in closet. He is
Love
what
it.
allows you to say, I want the new place.
He's the vaulted ceilings.
Yes. So this offense now
The
has
neighborhood in a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, well, this neighborhood, this offense now has the ability to have some breathing room to be good.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, they can still run the ball. They can still be
Yeah.
physical. Keon can make plays. Shakir can make plays. All that stuff can happen. And then you got the 7 for 120 wide receiver there that just opens it all up.
Yeah.
I've watched that show so many times, though. You do know that they much more stay in the house than they do.
So we just watched this one, and this lady was whining the whole time to her husband. She was like, this place stinks. We haven't done anything for 20 years. Then they fixed it up. It looked incredible.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we were like, oh, they're staying.
It's love. Yeah.
Listen.
So they,
Really?
List it.
Wow.
but it's funny. We always thought it's David and who's the woman?
I like her. The British woman.
Yeah.
Snarky.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know the
I've
names.
watched the show.
because I always know she says David, but they always, more often than not,
David?
they stay. Yeah,
David.
They stay because moving sucks.
yeah.
Like you
that's
can do
totally
these
fair.
shows. You're like, and the house is great.
Yeah.
You got to move. And it's like,
Yeah.
screw that. I'm
Yeah.
staying.
You would know too.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But I like
Anyway.
the ability for
HGTV
this.
tangent.
This ability for this offense to, because we've talked about what do you do against the Chiefs and what do you do against the Texans and what do you do against the Ravens? And it's great if your offense can control the ball and do all those things. Sometimes you need a dude to make a play. And I think they got one.
It's a matchup based league.
Yep.
They can be two-dimensional now, as Sean McDermott likes to say.
Yes. Very good. Is that it?
I'm just looking at Dan because he hates when we talk about the run game, but being two-dimensional is an important piece of being a really good team. Because if you don't have your A game in one way, you have kind of a backup plan or something else that can help open up things down the line.
The one dimension of passing the ball is way more important.
I don't know what he was referencing, but Aiden just said, also, Dan is wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The woman's name is Hillary.
Yeah.
Hillary, that's right.
David and Hillary.
Arrow Man and Deb
Bullseye
Wilkins.
says
Thank you.
Cooper is the open concept. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Open
yeah.
concept.
But there's load-bearing walls in their other house, so they can't. So
Yeah.
they're
Yes.
like, hey, we
Literally our
can't do it.
kitchen.
There's
Yeah.
always panic when the contractor comes in and goes, this is going to cost a lot
Oh,
more.
the worst is when you're like, you're not going to like what I have to say. It's like, no, hate that.
Anyhow.
Synchronicity. Okay.
Be a good T-shirt.
Synchronicity. Well, then you would have to learn how to spell it, and I have even
think that's
less
There's an
confidence in
album.
that.
Was that Sting?
The Police?
Synchronicity.
The Doors?
No. I was quizzing them on the Doors. These two didn't
I
know
had
the
good
Doors.
guesses. I had good
Yeah.
guesses.
The Walls. Mike's.
I
There was
said,
a song.
It's not the windows. It's the.
And I said, band name was The Walls.
uh,
Because, he's like, it's not the window. I was like, it's the wall. To the window. It's the wall. Oh, my
the
God.
police. Yeah, it was the police. So it is Sting. I
Oh,
knew it.
I got that right.
Synchronicity is. Yes.
Oh, okay. That
Okay.
We were at the airport. It's like been a 12-hour day. Mike's in the hall.
12. It was like 14.
And I'm sitting there listening,
He's
and
like,
it's
what's
the
the door?
Doors are playing.
He goes, it's not the wall.
And I go, Jim Morrison. I said, it's not a window. It's a.
Jenna goes, the Walls? It was so good because I only
The
heard
Wall's
that.
a Pink Floyd album. You guys are too young.
Oh.
Okay.
You know,
Hey,
any
I
of this
got the
stuff.
police one.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay. Synchronicity, the police, 1983.
Yeah.
Seamus says.
Yes.
How would you read that name?
Seamus.
Oh, I
Yeah.
really thought you would say
Shamus.
Seamus.
Yeah, I got that.
Old
Not that
Seamus.
dumb.
it's just you have that vocabulary of your own words that is amazing.
I said Seamus one time. No, it was shame. I was in like
Yes.
high school, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Syncrasy is an actual word. Syncrasy is an obsolete word that means the comparison of opposites or
No, he wasn't talking about that.
I don't think I
Okay,
was.
yeah. I don't think you were.
Okay.
Okay.
Picks?
Are we doing picks? Okay. Yeah.
Talked about Geno, talked about Kenneth Walker.
Yeah. What's your pick? We'll start with you.
We
We.
are a game up on the Hall of Famer.
Yes. So
Um,
what does
I
that make
said,
us?
I am making in-season adjustments.
I like that.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's a good way to, that's how I pivot my way out of takes. I adjust in the middle of my take to get it to be where it is. This game, again, I like the Seahawks. I think it's not nearly as daunting. The aura of going to Seattle and playing the Seahawks team. This isn't the Legion of Boom. This isn't Marshawn Lynch. This isn't Pete Carroll. I think they have a lot of weapons. I don't expect DK Metcalf to play. I also don't expect Terrell Bernard to play, but I think the Bills have, and I'll steal Mike's line, got to do it from it. They have the better quarterback. They have the better coach. They have the better defense and the better O-line. I do like this Bills team. I think it's close because I think this goes back and forth. And I think this might be a spot where the offense has to make a play to save the defense in this game because I think the defense has made good adjustments as we've talked about in the second half. I like the Bills 27-24 in a high-scoring game.
Okay. I have this game being a little bit of a bigger win for the Bills. I have the Bills winning this one 31-21. I do think that the Seahawks can put up points. I just feel like for the Bills defensive line, their O-line is really not good. It could be a place for Greg Rousseau to rack up some more sacks. I think the status of DK Metcalf is obviously hugely important, and I don't believe he will play in my opinion. So I think that's another knock on this Seahawks team. And I just think for the Bills, like Amari Cooper, another week for him to get adjusted. I think what you saw from him with Keon, with Khalil Shakir, just what things could look like. I think it's going to be a Bills win. I think they win by 10 points. I think I am a little concerned about the West Coast trip and just the travel involved in that. But at the same point, the Bills, better quarterback, better team, and they should win.
The one guy we haven't mentioned, a few people in the chat have mentioned it. Leslie Frazier is the assistant head coach of the Seahawks.
Didn't know that.
So he is there. You know, they have the younger head coach and Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Mike McDonald's kind of doing what Sean McDermott did, bringing in the veteran
Yeah.
coordinator that was a head coach, and Leslie was good there.
He's working as an assistant head coach. So he, so hey, listen, and somebody was like, are he and McDermott going to hug it out? They worked together for a long time.
Mhm.
Sean
I feel like
was
they will.
with him.
Yeah.
And listen, things change in the game. It's a long time for coordinators to be with a head coach.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason was behind Leslie leaving, he's been gone and he's out there in Seattle. And I'm sure they love him because who doesn't like Leslie Frazier that we know of? So as far as this game is concerned, look, the Seahawks have won 4 games. They can score points and they are at home. It's going to rain because it's Seattle and it can be a tough place to play. I'd feel a little different if this was at 8:00 game it's 1:00 out there. It's a regular game. That's 4:00. It's a limited adjustment time wise for the Bills going out there. It's just like playing a 4:00 game at home.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as big a deal. I think Josh is Josh. I think Cooper scores again, by the way. I'll throw that out there before Jenna jumps onto my hot take. And I've got the Bills winning at 31-24.
Okay. Do we think weather is a factor?
Yes. Not a massive factor. I think it's going to rain most of the game. 15-mile-per-hour winds is what it seemed like.
Yeah.
Nothing to really.
This is something is off because Jenna is going.
Yeah.
She's going to be on the field in the rain.
Yeah.
Got her new sneakers. She's ready.
Waterproof sneaks.
And Dan got
a beautiful
perfection in weather.
We'll see.
God made an in-game adjustment.
He did.
He better adjust back. I'm kidding.
I do want to bring up one more thing before we kind of wrap this up. Josh with 0 interceptions so far this season.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is better at throwing interceptions right now.
He is.
Than Josh Allen.
He's throwing them at an elite level.
Yes. If only Josh could.
Yes.
Do you guys see you from the press box, you from the field, like a difference in Josh? Or is it just some of it? Because in general, interceptions, some of it is bad luck one way or another. Josh has thrown a couple that almost got picked off, but I don't feel like he's being timid. I don't think it's not that he's taking shots. It's just, in my opinion, just solid decision making for an extended stretch.
Yeah, I think he's being more judicious with the football. And I think that Josh is funny to me because he talks about how he doesn't see anything in the media and all this stuff. But obviously, the narrative last year was that Josh turned the ball over, threw too many interceptions. What a joke. Like, you can't be an elite player and do that. And then this year, for him to come out through 7 games to have no interceptions. And there is luck as a piece of that. And I do expect Josh to throw some interceptions at some point. But I really think just it speaks to his decision making and how he has been that much more diligent, if it feels like. And I think the results of that have been obviously evident. So
Yeah. I mean, he could be playing the exact same way and have 1 or 2 interceptions, and it wouldn't be as much of a talking point. It would just be that they're down. I don't really notice any difference in him. He's done some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
He's done a couple dumb things, but I think you're always
He's pressed all the
get
buttons
that.
a couple times.
But he has not. You know what he hasn't done is make that throw where he blindly doesn't see the linebacker like 8 feet in front of him.
Mhm.
You know, he did that against the Jets a few times. I mean, he made it through a Jets game with 0 turnovers,
Yeah.
which was a huge factor in that game. So, no, I don't really see a difference in him. Yeah, you're right, Jen. It's going to happen. It happens to every quarterback in the league. Nobody plays a whole season without interceptions. It just doesn't happen that way. But he's been good.
And I think you also have to credit the offensive line too. Josh has taken the second least sacks in the league. Obviously, Josh is a piece of that as well. But it's nice to have that continuity with the offensive line and what that does. And they've been very fortunate, the Bills have, to, be able to have their guys out there. So
and Gino gets he's gotten a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
To throw.
There's definitely an opportunity. There is a mismatch in that. And will the Bills be able to exploit it?
Greg Rousseau, 1.5 this week. We got to get back on that train for 10.
Okay.
What's the under? What would it be? Most players like that. Is the under over on sacks like
half?
Yeah. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the guy for Dallas, when he was really humming, it was 1.5.
Parsons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
By the
card
way,
for Uncle
speaking of
Dan.
Dallas, how about the kickers on jury duty?
Yeah. What?
Dude, it's Dallas.
One of us. One of us.
Amazing. All right. Credit to me.
Go ahead.
No, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you go first.
I didn't. I'm not gonna. It was a longer one I wanted to talk about because it's an old man kind of thing. But I just want to get your. Okay, credit to me. I'm an elite Parker.
Oh, I thought you'd do something Hall of Fame related.
No, I mean, I appreciate all of it, but
Yeah, that's fair. We got to turn the page.
So I'm an elite Parker, and here's what I do. I heard somebody complaining about people backing into parking spots.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think unless it is wide open, you don't back in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're holding anybody up, unless that's the only way to get in, you back in. It makes my day when there's a pull-through opportunity.
Really?
You pull through on a parking spot, and then all of a sudden you look, and there's nobody on their side. You got to pause because somebody could be coming the other way. Pull through. That's like backing in because when you leave, you go straight out. I'm talking about where there's 2 parking spots.
Yeah, of course.
I'm aware of what a pull-through is, Michael.
So you don't do that?
It doesn't make my day.
Well, I mean that in a very
old man way.
But I saw these people saying you can't back in. Now I can do it quickly because I've been driving for 100 years. Elite Parker. Credit to me.
I feel like a pull through though. You're not like parking.
No, I had it today. There was a spot behind me. I was at the gym, but I saw one to the left. I'm like, no, I'm not going to back in. There's people behind me. I pulled to the left. There was a spot. And as I'm pulling in the spot, there's nobody in the next spot. Kept going straight. Went right into the next spot. I had pulled through. Now I had the benefit of a back in because when I go to leave, straight out. And I didn't have to slow anybody down. And I didn't pull out too fast. Paused for a second.
Right.
Paused. Owned it. Drove
Paused.
through.
Owned it.
Paused and owned it.
Parking good at. Driving.
Yeah, says the one who doesn't drive.
Yeah, I don't drive. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't really have one. Did you have one? Is that why?
Didn't really have one.
Is that why you're just waiting for me to do one?
I think I can do one though.
I'll say this. For any parent out there that has to get their kids ready in the morning to go to school or daycare, it is war. It is a full-on battle between getting the kids up, getting them fed, getting them dressed, having my daughter's hair ready, all of those things. And I do it on zero sleep. And so I'll give myself this credit. We've given my wife credit and she has deserved it. I'll take this one 5 days a week, getting the kids, my daughter to preschool on time, as well as my 14-month-old daughter is just a trooper. She just rides in the car. She's got no problem, but I have to get the tablet ready for for Shane and all these things. And my wife will make the breakfast for the girls. And then they come downstairs and like, well, I don't want this. So it's like,
Ugh.
so it's like, well, you don't want the waffle? It's like, well, what do you want? Toast. So then I eat the waffle. I make them toast. Then she wants it in the car because she doesn't want to eat it there. Now we're running behind, but we're always there on time. I'm usually like the second car that pulls in for preschool. I'm going to give myself just a little bit of
Yeah,
and it's
that's
a,
impressive.
and it's like a 25-minute drive. And when I was in New York City,
That's long for a drive to preschool.
and so when it was when New York City, my wife does it, or she has our mother-in-law do it, and she'll be like, mornings are kind of rough when I leave to go to school. It's like, yeah, this is war. You just put on your boots and go to work. So yeah, I'll take the credit to me on this one.
Okay. Did I already do the restaurants booking?
No.
Okay, credit to me. Michael and I are heading out to Seattle this weekend. Credit to me. I do the results
Research.
for the research. I don't know
Yes.
why. We have like no sleep because of our flights, but I always like to make sure that I have the reservations booked out so we know where we're going to dinner. So I already mapped out our trip. We got a
Yep.
dinner reservation on Friday, a different one on Saturday. I went Italian because Mike likes that. I also do as well, a little comfort meal, but credit to me because I like to have the trip mapped out. Not from the football side of things. That's all Mike. But
I rarely have disliked a restaurant you've picked.
Yeah, you're a lead at it.
I really do try at that.
And Matt Bove, Channel 7, or Dom Tibbetts, the two of them, a lot of times when we're on the road, those guys will catch up with us. They fully just go,
Yeah.
Jenna, they
it's
trust
just faith. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I do a good job.
I was gonna-
vibes,
I thought you were
reviews.
going to, that is a great one. By the way, Ned said, Ned had a comment said, I bet Mike could back into a spot with a manual transmission and without power steering. You bet you I did. I grew up doing that.
I wouldn't want to be in that car.
Oh, come on. By the way, Jenna, real quick, I wanted to say, I thought you were going to credit to me that you have no real sense of smell.
Oh my God, I don't. I really don't.
Helped you out?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a grandbaby and there was a dirty diaper and everyone was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't smell it. I do not smell it.
Elite.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm worried about that in the future, but
Yes. It's a future Jenna problem.
that's a future me problem.
Yes. Dan doesn't have to worry about it. He's got that covered.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's fair. Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, I think we're good.
All right. Go check out the
Heading to Seattle.
Yes.
Yes, we are going to Seattle. We will be leaving on Friday, tomorrow.
Yeah.
COVID knows.
So we will have 5 players to watch that we'll post this weekend. Dan's got the best bets, which is starting to roll.
12 plays this week. And
Wow.
a dozen.
I'll be honest with you, I almost did the credit to me for my last 3 weeks of betting on Uncle Dan's best bets.
Wow.
Save it for
Listen,
next week.
But
Yeah.
you know what? I was like, that's gonna mess up the vibe.
Yeah.
But I will say 14-7 in the last 3 weeks.
I actually had a
Nice.
different credit to me too, but I'm superstitious, so I didn't want to
Yeah.
jinx said things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Still an elite Parker.
That's good. It's good for you.
If
You have like
parallel-
8 cameras and
If
stuff.
parallel parking was an Olympic sport, I would medal. There's no question.
You think parallel parking here is anything?
What do you mean?
It's
in
easy.
Rochester,
It's
yeah.
I do it in
easy.
New York City.
Oh,
I
okay.
do it wherever. I do it
Okay.
when there's
Whenever you're
cars backed
called
up.
on.
Yeah.
Put me in, coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're ridiculous.
Yes.
Okay. Jan is
Appreciate it.
just used to smelling all of Dan's BS.
pretty good
Michael
comment. It's a pretty-
Damoff. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Plenty more coverage up on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike did a very good interview with Nico Tamurian, who
Yep.
used to work in Central New York, now is out in Seattle, sports director at Como. I highly recommend it. Yeah, we'll have plenty more stuff as we land in Seattle this weekend. So for Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel.